The European continent has a very long and storied history, and an even longer prehistory. All manner of flora and fauna have called it home over the years, and many spectacular wild animals still do. However, Europe's wildlife has often been regarded as a bit boring compared to the beasts of Asia, the Americas, and Africa. While we think that's a little harsh, it does make us wonder, why are notable animal groups like apes, crocodiles, and big cats nowhere to be found in Europe? Well, let's find out. Home sweet habitat. Europe is a diverse land with different kinds of climates and environments. You have the sunny Mediterranean coastal areas, wooded forests, grasslands, frozen tundras, and pretty much everything in between. The continent is also one of the most densely populated, if not the most densely populated. It is also the most developed and industrialized continent, with activities like agriculture, mining, manufacturing, tourism, and others occurring at an industrial scale. Naturally, both the human population density and the scope of human activities have had a significant impact on the natural environment and the animals that live in it. From humans hunting animals, to the clearing of wild forests or grasslands, to make way for farmland, mines, or towns, human presence and activity are arguably the main factors behind why some animal groups are absent on the continent. Additionally, climate and climate change play a big part in determining the kinds of animals that can live in a given environment, and Europe is no exception. One thing you'll notice about our listed animal groups is that most of them are large predators, something that isn't too common in modern Europe. Brown bears are the largest predatory animal in most subarctic Europe, but they can coexist with humans somewhat because they also live off fruits and fish. Polar bears are the largest predators on land, but they seldom clash with humans because of their remote habitats. Wolves are the most common big predator, but survive thanks to their high adaptability and efficient breeding. Now, let's focus a little more on some animal groups that aren't in Europe, their habitat preferences, and why they aren't compatible with European life. Big cats. The strictest taxonomists define a big cat as any animal in the Panthera genus of the Felidae or cat family. By this standard, only lions, tigers, leopards, jaguars, and snow leopards qualify as big cats. Panthera cats are also the only felines capable of roaring, a fact that is also frequently used to separate true big cats from others. Pumas and cheetahs, which are also absent in Europe, are technically not big cats because they are not in Panthera and do not roar. However, many people still refer to them as big cats because they are still physically large. Now, the reasons why there are no true or false big cats in Europe are pretty straightforward. Some of them are even kind of related, as you will soon see. Firstly, their habitats in Europe have been greatly diminished. Over the years, vast swathes have been repurposed for human settlements, activities, and industries. With diminishing habitats, animals like prehistoric European cave lions and the European cheetah could not hunt or reproduce effectively enough to sustain populations. Big cats generally require large territories with ample hunting grounds to thrive. Diminishing wildlands puts pressure on populations and leads to conflict. Cats are highly territorial and will fight each other and even kill each other's young if they feel their space is violated. Another reason European big cats are gone is tough competition from humans and other predators. As humans rose to dominate the earth, we developed tools and weapons that made hunting easier and more efficient. Early human tribes often hunted the same game. Big cats prefer deer, mammoths, boar, and such. Likely, early humans would also drive big cats from their own kills and scavenge the meat. At the same time, smaller predators like foxes, wolves, and smaller cats like lynxes could sustain themselves on smaller prey like rabbits, rodents, and birds. Faced with competition for their preferred prey and too large to exert energy hunting small animals, these big cats had to resort to desperate measures or starve. This leads to the next reason. Big cats were hunted by humans for being dangerous to humans and livestock. The big cats of Europe didn't just go after elk or wild horses. Sometimes, they would prey on livestock and even human beings. Injured or elderly cats that couldn't stalk wild game often turned to human settlements looking for something weak and easy to catch. Chickens, goats, dogs, and even children are far easier prey than bison, so some cats chose them instead. Of course, humans were not happy about this and began hunting big cats to protect their own lives and livelihoods. One by one, these animals were hunted, and combined with habitat, loss and intense competition, big cats eventually succumbed. The last Eastern European tiger was officially declared extinct in 2003. Today, the only wild cats that live in Europe are small to medium species like the European wildcat or the European lynx. While ferocious and still dangerous in their own right, these cats are not existential threats to people. Sightings of a lynx in your local area aren't as likely to force you to stay indoors the same way reports of a loose lion or tiger would. These smaller cats are also better equipped to live in modern European wilds in other ways. They don't need as much space as big cats, nor do they require as much food. Apes are perhaps the most interesting ones here. After all, aren't humans apes? So technically, Europe is full of apes, right? Well, yes. However, today we'll be focusing on non-human apes like orangutans, chimpanzees, bonobos, and gorillas. We know for a fact that some apes migrated from Africa to Europe more than 14 million years ago and thrived there for millions of years. Unfortunately, around 7–9 million years ago, at the end of the Miocene epoch, the climate in Europe began to cool, which prompted other ecological changes. One of the biggest changes was the disappearance of evergreen tropical fruit trees and the emergence of cyclical deciduous trees that could better endure the colder winters. The problem with this was most of these prehistoric apes had fruit as a major part of their diet, as evidenced by fossilized teeth. To stand a chance of surviving this great ecological change, called the Valesian crisis, they had to adapt to eating leaves or become better hunters. Their extinction shows that they did neither. Generally speaking, apes are omnivorous foragers that tend to live in warm and tropical areas with access to diverse food sources including fruit, roots, insects, honey, and various plant material. The shrinking forests and dropping temperatures were simply too unfriendly for them and their food sources. The only non-human apes you'll find in Europe these days are zoo animals, research subjects, or pets. Hyenas. Hyenas are part of an animal grouping called Feliformia, which is basically cats and cat-like animals. This means modern hyenas share common ancestors with the lions, leopards, and cheetahs with which they are perpetually at war. Hyenas also share a similar European extinction tale with some big cats. A long time ago, they ran rampant on the continent and were a fearsome sight for any animal. The most impressive species was the Eurasian cave hyena, which was much larger and packed more bone-crushing power than the spotted hyenas living in Africa today. For a long time, European and Asian hyenas were believed to be the victims of climate change and competition at the end of the last glacial period, about 12,000 years ago. During this time, the vast open grasslands of Eurasia were replaced by closed forests that hyenas could not live and hunt in. Animals like wolves and small forest cats were better equipped for life in these woods, and they duly outcompeted the hyenas. More recently, scientists have also pointed to pressure from early humans as another reason European hyenas are gone. This makes sense because hyenas are as dangerous as any big cat, especially to livestock and young children. Large wild predators are not the best neighbors, so early humans hunted them en masse. Crocodiles. Crocodiles and a number of other large reptiles are conspicuously absent in Europe, and the reason is very simple: climate. Europe is generally too cold for large reptiles like crocodiles and their cousins. Most of the continent experiences near or below freezing temperatures for more than a third of the year, something that just isn't compatible with large reptiles. You see, crocodiles are cold-blooded. This means they use their immediate environment to regulate their body temperatures. In Africa, for example, Nile crocodiles dash into the water or find a spot of shade to cool off and lower their body temperature. When this body temperature gets too low, they hit the riverbanks and bask in the sun to warm up. When they get too hot, they go to cool off, and so on. This lifestyle is much harder in Europe and basically impossible in winter. With minimal sun in winter, a croc would have no hope of warming up enough to stave off the chill. Without proper thermoregulation, the animal would go into shock and die. Crocodiles, crocodilians, and most other reptiles prefer tropical and subtropical zones that are warmer and provide ample resources for thermoregulation. We also hope you'll take the time to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It takes less than a minute, but it goes a long way towards growing the channel and ensuring you never miss an upload. All that's left to say is thanks again, and keep it locked onto your favorite animal channel. Bye for now.